University tuition fees. I know this one has been asked by a first-time voter who is going to university later this year, so it's a very real issue for them. So I'm going to start again with Charles Lloyd. You might want to use up your minutes.
Yeah, I think it's wise. I did think of shots the last 2 months.
So your manifesto says Conservatives are threatening to undermine opportunity by ending student bursaries, freezing the repayment threshold. No, I've got that wrong. But there's no promise in your manifesto to abolish the tuition fees, I say. Please go and say what you would do.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah. Okay, so, few industries are already being hit by Brexit as hard as our universities. Last week, the University of Manchester axed 171 staff amid Brexit concerns. So ultimately, avoiding a hard Brexit is essential for the future of UK universities. In government, the Lib Dem established a fairer system where no undergraduate student in England had to pay a penny of their tuition fees up front or until after they were earning £21,000. Thanks to this, we have more people than ever applying for university and more people from disadvantaged backgrounds than ever applying for university. The Lib Dems would reinstate maintenance grants for poorer students so living costs are no longer a barrier for attending university. We will make sure there is no retrospective raising of rates or selling off of loans to private companies. We'd also protect Erasmus Plus and other EU-funded schemes. I went door-to-door in Buxton collecting thousands of signatures to protect the Erasmus scheme, and I know how popular it is, even with people who voted Leave. That it's essential for our economy that our next generation get the chance to study abroad. I would also, the Lib Dems would also protect the science budget to support university research. UK students are about to have the places they can learn severely limited because of the end of free movement of people. Only the Lib Dems will take universities forward and not back.
What about fees? What about the fees?
I think we're dealing with this election, not the one that's gone past.
Yeah, well, and the question it says, what about fee? What would you increase?
Tuition fees,
Yes.
tuition fees.
And I
Yes.
need to lip read, and that bottle of water, thank you,
Share.
thank you very much.
Yeah. What would
Sorry.
you do to
You have
tuition?
50 minutes.
So what we would, I mean, tuition fees we maintain because at the moment, more people than ever, the way it works out is that grades are a great, and this is as commissioned by the Brown Report, which Labour has said, and also as well, it's also worth mentioning that Labour in Wales have followed suit by raising tuition fees to the same levels in England. But it's also worth mentioning that grades are a greater barrier to attending university than cost, and for people from poorer backgrounds, they tend to get poorer grades in school. So by the time it's time to make a decision to go to university, people from poorer backgrounds are going to work, getting full-time jobs, paying tax, so that people
No, that's not true.
better off backgrounds go to university, get a degree, and then get a better paid job. So that people from poorer backgrounds end up paying taxes, so richer children can get better jobs, and that entrenches inequality. By introducing the pupil premium, the Lib Dems have made sure people from poorer backgrounds are getting better grades, and more of them are going to university than ever before. That's where money needs to be concentrated on early years education. That's the only way we can combat inequality. And I'm sorry you don't like it, but it's a fact. And this was set out by the Labour Commission Brown Report, which Labour would have done if they'd won in 2010.
How does an 11-year-old study when the parents on 25 a bloody hour and they've got no food? It's not just about...
As I said, we reinstate maintenance grants, and no student has to pay a penny of their tuition fees until after earning £21,000 a year.
Yeah, but even then, I want to go to university next year. I can't afford it because it's going to come out with a £51,000 debt, not including accommodation, not including any books I'll need, which cost at least £40 each.
Yeah, we reinstate maintenance grants. We reinstate maintenance grants, so that the cost isn't an issue.
But then
People can't afford it.
we've looked into this. We need to bring
Yes.
them down instead of maintaining them because I can't afford
Then
to
it
go to
ends with
university.
people, with poorer students who don't get the grades, going into work, paying their taxes, so richer students can go get a great
I want to
education.
go and work in a lab, and that requires university. I don't want to settle for just going and getting a job. Why, just because of my background, should I settle for just going into a job?
You shouldn't. You absolutely
Yeah.
shouldn't. Which is why money needs to be concentrated on early years education.
She doesn't want to start with that debt.
Okay, I think there's too much noise going on at the moment and too many questions.
£1,000 on my shoulders at 18, 19
Which
years
you
old.
won't have to pay up until you can put it.
Shouldn't have to pay it back at all.
I've got 22 grand of debt. I mean, I'd rather not have
I think we're getting
Also,
into the details of the
I'd rather-
finance here that's a bit too detailed for this particular venue, and I think you've had your minutes as well. So Ruth George, I notice the Labour says that they will abolish university tuition fees.
Yay!
I'm going to ask how you propose to pay for that, because it sounds pretty expensive to me.
Okay, thank you. We will abolish university tuition fees because they are unfair. They end up with students on average on £44,000 of debt. And I'm afraid, Charles, that people from poorer backgrounds see that as the barrier to going to university.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I'll allow Ruth George. Sorry, I'm going to allow Ruth George to answer the question.
I know dozens of young people, my children's age, who have not gone to university because they didn't want to be saddled with that debt.
Yeah,
They stayed at home
my son
working.
included.
They have done courses at night school, but they haven't got the degree. My daughter, who's 22, she's just finishing her teacher training. She's got a £44,000 debt on her shoulders. She's going into teaching just at a time when teaching jobs are being cut everywhere. That is not the future that we want for young people. We want them to be able to aspire to go to university, regardless of whether they want to get an enormous debt on their shoulders, that if they are not so affluent will prevent them getting a home in the future, because they have got their whole future ahead of them.
So I'm going to
We'll
repeat
bring
my
back
question and
maintenance
ask.
grants, and we will abolish those.
I'm going to ask where the funding is coming from.
We have a fully costed.
No, that's a fair question. I am adding the supplementary questions at each one to each candidate, appropriate to their position. Okay, in that case, we won't hear how Labour intend to fund it. I withdraw that question.
Well, I will tell you, absolutely. The cost of removing university tuition fees and restoring the maintenance grants is £11.2 billion, which is in the tax measures. It's part of the tax measures in Labour's fully costed manifesto. We have given that as a priority. It is one of our biggest spending commitments because it is so important that we grow our own skills in this country.
Yay! This will be interesting.
The provision to maintain the maximum tuition fee in line with inflation was established in law in 2004, and I believe that's probably the right thing to do. Charles was right, the new repayment methods that were brought in by the coalition government are more progressive. It does reduce the monthly payments that people have to make. They don't pay until they're earning £21,000. But actually, some of the reforms that the government have done have ensured that some of the university institutions are actually investing in widening student access. And Charles is right, there are more students from disadvantaged backgrounds going to university now than ever before. But they are investing money in outreach and actually student financial support measures. I think it's about £700 million. So, as I said, the tuition fees, the provision to move them in line with inflation was enshrined in law in 2004, and that's what we'll maintain.